Do you know, as a kid in the 90s, and with TV shows, we didn't have this great on-demand service. It was whatever was on, and you got to watch it, right? And the one thing you fucking hated seeing coming was a fucking best of.
No. Even now, I don't like them.
Do you think people felt like that this week when they went down to our free feed and it was like, they've done these already?
Possibly. But then for people who didn't join us that early, they might have listened to it.
Yeah, because they are like some of our earlier ones.
Yeah.
And the reason for it, again, we were saying, well, there's two reasons for it. Let's not lie. We've been super busy trying to streamline everything and get everything as neat and tidy and easy to access as fucking humanly possible.
Yeah.
So we've needed extra time. So this week we went back. And like we say, because of the new format of Real Monsters, there's like 130 episodes of Mini Monsters that we never got to discuss. We just profiled.
Yeah.
So we went back and you picked two of your favourite stories and I picked two of my favourite stories. And we said we'd have a look at them this week. So you picked Spring Heel Jack and the Banshee, and I picked the Slenderman and Grim Sleeper. And before people worry, I didn't pick the shitty little creepypasta Slenderman. I picked it for the reason of I wanted to get into the story of those girls that went crazy and went to kill in the name of Slenderman. But I'll be honest, just starting right off, getting out the gate. I have now listened to the guys on last podcast on the left talk about Spring Heel Jack.
Yeah.
I have repeatedly listened to your creepypasta about Spring Heel Jack. I still don't know the story at all. It's one of these stories that's been told to me a million times, but never ever sticks in my brain for some reason. So I have absolutely no idea what the hell is going on with this thing. I just know last podcast I have a coffee named after him, and you love him for some reason. And I
love him. I just think it's an interesting story.
I picture like when I hear Spring Heel Jack, for some reason, I picture like a kind of goblin dressed like Peter Pan running around the place.
That is because that is kind of the way he was portrayed in the Victorian Penny Dreadfuls.
Okay. Kind of like that kind of, that's Peter Pan. He's kind of like Robin Hood Peter Pan dress.
Yeah.
But,
like the way I'm looking
goblin-esque
at him now, he's like even poised, like Peter Pan. Like he's getting ready to, yeah.
Captain Jack Sparrow kind of.
Yeah.
Prancing around the place so much as walking.
Yeah, exactly. He was an entity in English folklore of the Victorian period.
And just in case anybody is wondering, in case it can be picked up, I don't know if it can be heard in the microphone. If you hear crunching, that is our dog Caesar crunching on some bones. So, yeah.
Yep.
He ain't going to stop for me, so you got to put up with it. But I'd say that the sound blocker will probably take it out.
Hopefully. But yeah, so he was a first claimed sighting of Spring Heel Jack in 1837, and then there was sightings all over the United Kingdom, kind of mostly associated with London.
How come because we said before like that originally people would know, anybody that's been with us from the start would know that Mini Monsters was once Creepypasta Crypt and Mini Monsters, and you do two Creepypasta Crypt where you do stories, and I do two Mini Monsters where I do some true crime kind of profile or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't really find any good creepypastas outside of the ones that we did that weren't, a little cheesy. How come you never went down the route of chasing the Penny Dreadfuls?
Because I hadn't thought of it. I'll be very honest, it's not until a few months after we kind of switched that I was like, that's not a bad idea.
You could always stick one or two of them in there. They'd fit in, something different every now and again, and a bit of a background. I mean, Spring Heel Jack. Go on, tell us about it. Is this a story?
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde have been Penny Dreadful.
And they're essentially comic books, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like early comic books.
Yeah.
But so was this guy a comic book and that became an urban legend, or is it an urban legend that became a comic book?
I think it's a comic book that became an urban legend. Like the first alleged sighting of Spring Heel Jack were in London in 1837.
Do you know what? They got a picture here on the Wikipedia page, and it is literally the front page of his Penny Dreadful. A 1 penny Spring Heel Jack comic book, and it looks like a comic book. This is the one I told
you about. This is what I was saying to you.
He essentially looks like Victorian age Batman.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
That's what they have him dressed as here. If you go to the Wikipedia page for Spring Heel Jack, you'll see it. You probably won't have to, because if I do a promo for this week's show, this will probably be the picture.
Yeah. So, the first sighting was in 1837, and there was a girl called Mary Stevens, and she was walking to Lavender Hill, where she was working as a servant. And then on her way home, a strange figure leapt at her from a dark alley, and he kind of caught her and began to kiss her face and rip her clothes and touched her flesh with his claws.
And she said, "Who are you?" And he said, "I am vengeance."
Yeah, I was thinking, yeah. Anyway, but and she said that he was like cold and clammy like a corpse. And then she screamed, and that made him run off. And then
Do you think Batman would be cold and clammy?
No, I think he'd be sweaty under all that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, clammy, yeah, but not cold.
Yeah. Sweaty and warm.
Sweaty and warm. So the day after that, the same figure was said to have gone after another victim near Mary Stevens' home, and he jumped in the way of a passing carriage, causing the coachman to lose control, crash, and severely injure himself. And then several witnesses claimed that he escaped by jumping over a 9-foot-high wall while cackling with a high-pitched, ringing laughter. And that kind of gave him the name of Spring Heel Jack, I suppose, jumping over the 9-foot wall.
How has this not been made? How has a movie not been made of this yet? Even a cheap movie of this not been made yet. You know, there's two versions of this you could do. You could do a horror where there's this, psychotic, demonic Spring Heel Jack running around killing people, and you could do what we just said and make it a Victorian age superhero fucking movie about this, this insane billionaire who goes out as a vigilante. But Batman is in Victorian age, and they have done that.
Have they?
They've is it Gotham by Lamplight or something, or some weird name like that, or Batman by Lamplight or something like that. But it's a cartoon of it, and it's all based on Batman going after Jack the Ripper, I think, maybe, or something along that. I watched the first 5 minutes of the cartoon, and I was like, this is more than anything, and I turned it off.
I mean, there is an audio drama, but
of Spring Heel Jack.
Yeah, and then there's a
Check that
novel
out.
from 1989. It's more of a graphic novel from 1989.
I'm going to look that up. I can't. Yeah, it just seems like it would make a good comic book.
It would make a really good comic, but it also make a good, like you said, movie or TV show.
And what did he do any good stuff, or was it all bad? Was he always just... He just sounds like someone missing a lot of the time, to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest, nobody was ever caught. Nobody was identified. I mean, he was kind of... The first sighting was in the 1830s. The last sighting was in the 1900s, about 1904, 1907. So, I mean, if he was real, he would have been a very old age to still be jumping out at people in the 1900s.
Again, they have done old Batman. So...
I don't think an at least 80, 90-year-old man is going to be jumping over a 9-foot wall with ease, though.
I don't know what age he is in Batman... not Batman Begins, fucking Batman Beyond.
Not 90.
Or what was that one? The Frank Miller one. The Dark Knight. Not the movie. It's a comic book, but he's really, really old. That's why Ben Affleck was chosen as the last Batman.
He was really, really old.
Well, he was an older Batman. And that's what they wanted. They wanted
he
to go with that.
looks tired a lot as well. So, I mean...
And that is a requirement to be Bruce Wayne. Well, to be Batman. You have to look... As Bruce Wayne, you need to look tired in private and then full of life and energy in public.
I like Robert Pattinson, but I think he looks tired in public too.
Yeah, I can't really see him in the Playboy role. Christian Bale did that really well.
Christian Bale did that fantastically. The Playboy role,
whereas Pattinson's a bit emo to be out partying, I have to
He's
watch
a bit of a feminist
again.
to be believable as a Playboy.
I haven't watched that movie. I've seen it once when it came out. And it was 3 hours, and I was kind of in and out of it because I was tired. But I have to watch it again. I do remember the ending. I remember the whole point of the movie and what it was.
It's the Robert Pattinson one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So essentially him kind of, figuring out if he helped one person at a time and all this stuff.
You gotta watch it
it's him learning to, I think him essentially getting the morals to not kill anybody and all this kind of stuff. And it's good. It's good. I'm looking forward to the next one, but I think we're another 2 years away from that. Shit, we got the new Joker movie coming soon, don't we? That's October as well.
Funny you do, yeah.
Terrifier and so we got 2 clown movies in October.
Nice.
Oh. Good. But we definitely got to get this going. We got to get this Spring Heel Jack movie in the works.
Absolutely. Some people reckon that it was just another case of mass hysteria, but then other people think that it was an Irishman that was the culprit.
What do you mean?
The Marquess of Waterford was the main suspect at one stage, kind of due to his having bad experiences with women and police officers, apparently. So he was frequently in the news in the late 1830s for drunken brawls, brutal jokes and vandalism, and was said to do anything for a bet, and his irregular behaviour.
Brutal jokes? That joke is terrible. Arrest the man. This is the worst stand-up comedian ever. He deserves
just
jail
rude
time.
Jokes, and everybody was like, "Oh my god!" You know what I mean? Like an Irishman going over making jokes in front of English people.
Oh, these proper posh English people who don't like our crass behaviour, drunken behaviour.
Could be.
But,
yeah. So it could have been he was one of the suspects.
Do you know why we have drunken behaviour? Because we're fucking traumatised with PTSD. We have literally fucking ancestral PTSD from fucking English people coming over here and taking over our land.
It's been proven that we still have that gene from the family.
But that's what they reckon the alcohol problem with Irish is this ancestral fucking PTSD. The Irish people are just naturally fucking traumatised and fucking sad because it's masked by the whole, hey, look at us, we're the drunken Irish people. But you should see Irish people at the end of the fucking night. Whew. Most of them are singing and crying their way home. I know more fucking people who get drunk to the point of tears than I do fucking get drunk to the point of fun.
You're giving us an awful bad reputation here, Josh.
I've never once cried drunk drinking.
Neither have I.
You are a liar. Right, from one of yours to one of mine, we go to Slenderman. Like I said, I don't really give a shit about the actual story. It's a cool concept. Where is it? A fictional supernatural character originated in creepypasta internet memes, but created by Something Awful forum user Eric Knudsen, also known as Victor Surge, in 2009. Everybody knows what Slenderman looks like. He's a big, tall, lanky guy. Black suit.
I used to get Siren Head confused with him.
That's the one from Silent Hill, is it?
No, that's the one that the lads be on about, the big, tall, lanky guy with the siren for a head.
Did I not have that? I never played Silent Hill and I've only seen the movie with
that's Pyramid Head.
Oh, okay. Something.
The kind of nearly, if he didn't have a pyramid for a head, hot guy.
I don't know. I'm sick of hearing about Slenderman. I like the true crime story that goes with him. But, I don't know. What's his origin? There's so much on him and it's ridiculous. So much goes into this. But it's the
Wisconsin stabbing.
Yeah. Well, what's the actual name of this town? Waukesha stabbing in Wisconsin, which is supposed to be a fairly dull place from what I knew. But anyway. So in 2014, two 12-year-old girls in Waukesha, Wisconsin held down and stabbed a 12-year-old classmate 19 times. I can't believe this girl survived 19 stabbings. In your wildest fucking days, was there any point in your emo fucking young teenage fucking days that you believed in any of this shit enough to fucking...
No!
Anything of it. Like, I remember, like, alright, me and some of the boys would like fucking make a Ouija board, or we'd fucking...
Oh, well, yeah. When we were younger, that kind of stuff.
When we read Marilyn Manson's autobiography, we were all about, we'll go find Anton LaVey's book, and we read that. I heard it's extremely boring and ridiculous. And just all that kind of shit. But I mean...
I never put any real stock in it, like, do you know?
I don't think I was big into the paranormal at that point, to be honest.
I was more just music, like,
you know?
Yeah.
Well, music and wrestling was all that I give a shit about as a teenager.
I was into music as well, but I was into paranormal, but more in like our own like kind of paranormal Irish, as in like mythology.
I was just completely wrapped up in music and fucking and wrestling.
Yeah.
All I did, that was it. I went to practice, I wrote lyrics, I watched wrestling. That was my fucking entire life as a teenager. I developed this more as I got older. I think once I started to get more... I mean, like I said, I always loved horror movies. They've always been like a go-to kind of comfort movie, bit of fun to watch. But as I got into my 20s is when I really got into all the true crimey stuff and all the scary paranormal bits and pieces that go along with them, because you know, if you start getting into true crime, eventually you're going to come across Amityville and Enfield, and then that's going to draw you into something else. It's the same way as if you're listening to true crime stuff, eventually you're going to come across Betty and Barney Hill, you're eventually going to come across Roswell, you're eventually, these are just all these interconnected kind of genres that kind of do. It's the same way like we call ourselves a horror podcast, but we're covering fucking Planet of the Apes for the last 2 weeks, and that's sci-fi really. You know, now I would argue again, watch Battle for the Planet of the Apes and tell me that movie isn't a scary ass fucking movie. But anyway, these girls, when questioned later by authorities, they reportedly claimed that they wished to commit a murder as a first step to becoming proxies for the Slenderman, having read about it online. They also stated that they were afraid that Slenderman would kill their families if they did not commit the murder. This sounds like something straight out of a horror movie. After the perpetrators left the scene, the victim crawled out to the woods to a roadway. A passing cyclist alerted authorities, and the victim survived the attack. Both attackers were diagnosed with mental illnesses, but were charged as adults and faced up to 65 years in prison. One of the girls reportedly said Slenderman watches her, could read minds, and could teleport. She couldn't read minds and teleport, or Slenderman could? I assume Slenderman.
Oh, Slenderman, but it gets crazier.
Experts testified in court that she also said she conversed with Lord Voldemort and one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Lucky bitch.
If you could talk to any of them, which one would you talk to?
Oh, I mean, look. See, Michelangelo would be fun, but for a short period of time. I think eventually I'd be like, alright, enough of the dude shit. Leonardo's too serious. Raphael, I think, is the one I get on the most with in personality form. I feel like he's someone who just sit down and watch wrestling with me and stuff. Yeah, probably Raphael, and I like red.
Okay.
But my favourite as a kid was like everyone was Leonardo. She wanted to be a leader, like you know, a big tough fucking leader. But nowadays he's like nerd. I'm definitely closer to the hothead than I am the honourable leader. In August 2015, what was this? She was found incompetent to stand trial. No fucking shit. And the prosecution was suspended until her condition improved. Now, see, that always confuses me, right? If you're not competent for trial, then most likely you were not fucking competent when you committed the crime. Why are they only deferring prosecution then? Surely there should be a timeline, and if she's going to be in a mental institution for a certain amount of time, then that should be knocked off the end date. I mean, how can you say, oh, we're going to wait until she's fit for trial, then we're going to prosecute her, but to the fullest extent of the law, like she was fucking saying. But
I don't know if this is the right answer, because Wikipedia, it doesn't give us this much. But I mean, was there like psychiatrists saying, right, well, we can treat her and we could review it again on this date, as in like not infinitely held to, you know?
I don't know. That was August 2015. One of the girls, 15 in 2017, pleaded guilty to being a party to attempted second-degree homicide, but claimed she was not responsible for actions on the ground of insanity. Although prosecutors alleged that she knew what she was doing was wrong, the jury determined that she was mentally ill during the attack. On December 21st, Waukesha,
I think
County Circuit Judge Michael Bohan sentenced Anisha Weir, then 16-year-old, to be hospitalised for 25 years from the date of the crime, which would mean she would be institutionalised until she is 37. So when was that? That was 2017. She got a fair stretch left.
She does, in fairness.
I don't know which is worse, being locked up in one of their prisons or one of their fucking mental institutions. All night. Either way, you're going to be listening to people scream all night and banging their fucking cell doors. It's not going to be nice. In a statement to the media in 2014, Eric Knudsen said, "I'm deeply saddened by the tragedy in Wisconsin, and my heart goes out to the families of those affected by the terrible act." But see, again, I don't think you can hold 12-year-old girls responsible for that. I don't think they should be tried as adults.
Not as adults.
I think even if they are fully aware of what they're doing is being wrong, something went wrong in their upbringing or something's wrong with their mind. You cannot, I'll put it this way, if you're not allowed to vote, go to war, drink, or have sex, you are not responsible for what you have fucking done. If you're not responsible for everything else and somebody else is, you can't be held responsible in this situation. This is a situation where, yes, they should have been institutionalized. 25 years might be a bit fucking heavy-handed. I would say maybe until the person is fit to go into society again. Do you know? Deemed fit for society again.
What happens if that happens in 6 months? Do you know, like, there's still...
Well,
there has to be like a minimum.
No. Come here. I think there has to be. It should be reviewed by a board or some sort. Because 6 months, it will be obvious that the person was never really that insane to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, and you should be able to tell the difference in that case. I mean, obviously there'd be a minimal kind of fucking. Well, look, we're going to put you in there for fucking 5 years, and then we're going to review the case. But in the meantime, if we look at it in 2 years' time and your doctor says you're doing well, well, then maybe we might look at loosening some of the fucking where you're living, what you're doing, work release, come back halfway house, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you cannot hold a 12-year-old girl who thinks she is talking to the Turtles and Lord Voldemort responsible for the attempted murder.
I don't think she would have been tried as an adult here at all.
No. I mean, that's the equivalent of our eldest kid going out there and killing someone after what they saw on TV and then saying, well, no, there's different circumstances. I mean, like...
I think we'd have failed as not failed, but I mean, like, we wouldn't have done our jobs properly.
See, even we're double standards when we talk about this here. Because then if you bring up the whole Bulger case from the fucking 90s, your instant reaction is, fuck those kids.
My instant reaction is fuck those kids because one of those kids didn't change his fucking ways.
But, yeah, that's true, 100%, and he is a scumbag.
Yeah.
But it's not like the opportunity was ever afforded to them to change. They were fucked from the start. There was something wrong there from day one.
But and one at that age, out and he's living a life. He's.
Oh, I know, but I mean, there was obviously a leader in those situations. Yeah. I mean, even in these two girls' cases, as far as I know, one of them was definitely the more dominant of the two.
But what I'm saying is, one has been afforded that opportunity to forge a life for himself afterwards. The other guy was given that opportunity, and he. But what I'm saying is,
were they were locked? Yeah, I don't know what type of place they'd be locked up. I know it would be more like a kind of boarding school, wouldn't it? A boarding house kind of
penitentiary
thing.
Kind of
it wouldn't really be a jail. It would be more like a fucking military school, I would assume.
I think so.
In style, but it would still be one they couldn't leave.
You know? Oh yeah.
No. Yeah, I don't know. I just think 12 is too young to hold somebody responsible for what they've done.
Absolutely.
Do you know? Yeah. And especially, what year were they? 12, 2014. Well, no, I was going to say especially in the early ages of the internet when people didn't really know what they were reading. But 2014, it'd have been there a good fucking 10 years, girls. You know, been there all your life.
At that age, like, I mean, we discussed the Russian sleep experiments, and I told you that I was tired and it was late at night, and I was kind of
12, I would have believed that 100%.
At 12, I mean,
that would have made me shit myself.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
but it's still, see, I just think you can't really, I don't know. Like I said, I know every state is different and they look at it in different ways, but to me, I don't give a shit if the person, even if the child is acting like they fully understand right for wrong and they are 100% unrepentant in what they've done. You can't try them as an adult. What's the point in having a distinction between children and adults?
They definitely have to go into like a mental institute.
What's the point in having a distinction between child and adult in law if you're only going to turn around when you feel like it and say, well, this looks bad enough that we're going to try you as an adult? It's like, no, you're still under the fucking age of consent. You're still not fully formed. You still don't know what you're doing. What they did was awful, and yes, they had to 100% go and be put into a mental facility for a prolonged fucking period of time until they were definitely 100% okay and, you know, eased back into society and watched for a period of time. But I still don't think, I think you can do that while trying them as children and looking at their fucking background and maybe doing it as a softer way than what was done.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear about people being institutionalized and going into these kind of backgrounds. These places usually aren't fun, nice fucking places. They're not nurturing places. They're going to be cold. They're going to be clinical. They're going to be sterile.
I mean, like, one of them is going to be 55 when she's eligible. Like, so I mean, that woman, like,
something she did when she was 12.
She's not going to be able to reintegrate at 55.
And that's 25 fucking years in a mental institution for attempted murder at 12 years of age. An adult wouldn't get that for actual murder in Ireland. If
but
you
it's
murdered in
ama-
Ireland and admitted to it,
it's-
you would do 15 years
Yeah.
tops.
Yeah.
Tops, you'd do 15 years. If you admitted to it straight off the bat, you'd probably do 12 years and then have the last 3 suspended.
True.
And even then, you'd probably get out in 10 years with good behaviour.
Yeah.
Do you know, so I mean, don't fucking, do you know, I just think this is way, way, way too much for 2 12-year-olds to be fucking dealing with. And you have to look at what the fuck is going on in those 12-year-old family lives that they're stuck in this fantasy world. Do you know, that has led them to be stuck in this fantasy world.
Yeah.
And where the fuck are the parents in this situation?
Oh, exactly.
That, you know,
Yeah.
surely, as a parent, we can tell when one of our kids are slightly off of form. Surely, you can tell when one of them is planning a murder. Do you know?
Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, unless this girl was like a master manipulator, there is no way a kid could get that far away from you without me figuring out they're up to something that day.
Oh, come here. I told you when we went for a walk today, I knew instantly our youngest, if he was let back outside the door, he was planning on playing on the trailer. And all he had to do was, Mom, could I go outside? I was like, nope. Do you know what I mean?
He asked for what? He asked about the trailer first.
No, we were passing it. And he was like, I'm going to go outside and then he stopped. And he was like, Mom, could I go outside and we go home? Like, no, he was looking straight at this trailer where the lawnmower goes up onto. It's like, not a
They're not good liars.
No.
And they don't get any better at it. And they get really defensive when they're lying. That's a little tip. So just watch out for that. Yeah, like I said, crazy. But, moral panic and other incidents. So the stabbing in Wisconsin spawned a nationwide moral panic over Slenderman across the United States. And you know what they did about it? They made about 2 movies and a couple of video games about it. And then they stuck him into every child's fucking video game going. He's the Enderman in Minecraft, which is every child's obsession. Since my brother was a kid and he was born fucking when I was 17. So that's what, he's 18 now. So this thing is,
18 years ago.
this has been going around for a long time, like, you know.
Do you remember the Slenderman game when you were walking around the woods?
No, I've never played anything. I've never watched any of the movies. I've never played any games.
I think you were with me when I was playing that. It was like literally just like a couple of seconds. I never played it long, but like, you know, like the screen was kind of like grey and there was like, you know, trees and stuff like that. And you're kind of like walking through them, but you don't see yourself walking through them. It's like,
No.
oh.
I know there's proper video games and there's, I'm pretty sure it's on Roblox and it's on fucking, like I said, Minecraft, but I think it has its own Slenderman games because I think, I don't think there's any copyright in this thing.
Okay.
I think anybody can do anything they want to put Slenderman.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's Slenderman. I thought it was interesting just because of this crazy fucking time. Yeah, see, moral panic should be a wake-up call for all parents. The internet is full of dark and wicked things. I don't believe in that second part. It is dark and it is full of dark and wicked things, and you should be watching your kids and making sure they're not looking at fucked up shit.
Yep.
I mean, we've even seen some fucked up shit in YouTube. Kids. Not just YouTube. But I mean, look, at the same time,
you need to be a responsible parent to monitor what your kids are doing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Just because something is marketed for kids doesn't mean it's for kids.
At the same time, if they do see something that is horror-based, you explain to them what it is. I mean, our kids understand what horror movies are. They understand they're fictionalized, you know, fucking things to just scare you and have a bit of fun with, and that it's all pretending, they're all masks, and it's all actors, and they're all fine afterwards. And it's fun because it's not real.
Yeah.
And that the real stuff is absolutely horrific and terrifying and doesn't really happen in the same way you see it in TV and movies and stuff like that. And they understand that and they get that, like, you know? Because, I mean, Fionn sees his fair bit in YouTube Kids without us knowing, the little prick. He manages to fucking pull out. I mean, he is a crafty little shit when it comes to pulling up those YouTube videos. We blocked YouTube on his tablet. And then he figured out that if he just left the Amazon ads to come up on his screen, he could click on the Amazon ad and it would send him to a link with an advert in YouTube where he could then again start browsing YouTube.
And again, as responsible parents, we found out because he was up in his room giggling to himself and we knew something was different. Not that he's not a happy child, but he was giggling mischievously.
And then for the summer, we told them that they had they can only have the video games and YouTube between, I think it's fair, between the hours of 6 p.m. and 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. the next day.
They're asleep for a lot of that time, but.
But during daytime, they had to be rather outside playing or playing board games or drawing. And I told them they could watch proper television, full shows or full movies. And that's it. And this morning he was like, "Can I listen to music on my tablet? I won't play games." And next thing I come out of my room and he's sitting there with the tablet and he's like, "I'm listening to music." And I walked over and there's Sonic running around his screen. I was like, "Is that music?" He's like, "It's attached to the video, to the song."
That's why he was looking for his headphones.
And he was hiding upstairs in the landing to do it.
Should have done it. Should have did it in his tent with the doors closed, not right on the chair in the landing.
So you got to watch that fucker. So it's hard to censor him. He finally admitted it when I told him that I had an app that could look up his history.
Oh, it's easy to catch him out. Once you tell him, he's like, okay.
Oh, yeah. But he hasn't, I think they obviously know who the Slenderman is because of Enderman. But that's about the only interesting thing that's happened from Slenderman. That one crazy story. Yeah. And since then, he's just become a bit of a fucking media kind of pop culture phenomenon with crap movies and worse video games from what I hear.
Absolutely.
Anyway, next one is we go from a new legend to an old with the Banshee. And this is your pick, so you can talk.
It was my pick. So the Banshee, obviously, she's a woman spirit in Irish folklore, and basically when a member of the family dies, she heralds the death by screaming or keening, as in like funeral keening. But yeah, she's mostly associated with certain house names, certain family names. Flynn is one of them. O'Brien, there is a load of them. So I mean, like,
I think that's what I'm going to do because of my pagan beliefs. If I manage to make it to elderly age, right, I'll pay one of my granddaughters to dress up like the Banshee, and when I die, they have to go out to the end of the estate and start screaming. And then come back.
So you just want to hire a professional keener? You could do that.
Get someone in my family to do it.
But no, but I'm just saying this is what the tradition was like.
Yeah.
Yeah, as in like you might like you say next door you didn't really know them well, but like like the mother might be looking for money, or she could be a professional cleaner. So you'd hire her and like hire a whole group of women, and they'd come and they'd like beat their chests and wail and scream. Not scream.
Can I hire a Banshee?
Well, that's obviously like where the Banshee comes from is that image of the keening woman. I mean, she most of the times her eyes are red from continuously crying, and she has.
Does Banshee skip higher?
No.
Irish go to spooky places and tour personal. Doesn't look like anyone is offering their.
No. Did you no, wait. Did you Google can I hire a Banshee, or did you Google can I hire a keener?
Okay, how do you spell keener?
Keener. Keener.
Keener.
Yeah.
How the keening tradition died. All the Irish funerals traditional, blah blah. Keening tradition, maybe. No, see, this is just funeral arrangements and cost. Well, this is citizens' information. They don't have keening.
There's a lot of like Shanno singing. A lot of, and there's a particular style of it called keening, and basically like it would just be laments, and it's a really.
Yeah, there's some people that still do it. If you go on to keeningwake.com, it looks like they do it.
Right, so do you want me to hire them for you when it's your time?
Yes, please.
Oh my god, look at them, they're getting really into it here.
But, is that all the Banshee really was? Or just, did she have anything else attached, or is there anything?
Or
is that it? Is that just what the Banshee does? It's just like a warning call for the dead?
Yeah, so basically the first warning that like the house would have of somebody dying. Sometimes it would be a predictor, or sometimes the person might be already dead or dying.
Could it be a warning to the, like, if you keep going, you're going to be dead? Is there a way back if you hear the Banshee, or is it too late?
Well, once the Banshee comes, you have the Costa Bauer. and
you're already dead.
Yeah, because once the Costa Bauer comes, he doesn't go back to the underworld without. Yeah, so he has to go back with the soul. That is.
No, I was just thinking, because if you're on your way to war and you see the Morrigan washing clothes on the side of the road, it's a sign that you're going to die.
Yeah.
But so I was just thinking, that's obviously kind of a thing. If you turn back, you're probably going to be all right. Well, then again, it could be a sign that if you're just destined to go, so you could turn back and be killed on the way back just as easy, so you wouldn't know.
Yeah, exactly. Your
You run away.
It's already been drawn. Like.
Yeah, you don't want to see that woman washing clothes on the side of the road when you're on your way to a fight.
Same way as you don't want to see the Banshee. I mean, like, she is exactly like they show her in Derby O'Gill.
We have an awful lot of fucking harbingers of death.
Because of the 700 years of PTSD, Josh. We just said this.
Black dog, we're gonna die. Woman cleaning clothes, we're gonna die. Woman scream, crazy woman screaming, we're gonna die. That's what it's like to be Irish.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've always liked the Banshee. It's always been a creepy stuff. I always saw her as more like a witch than anything else. But that could be just because of the cover of the Banshee bones.
Well, like sometimes she was seen it kind of like in a green kind of.
Banshee bones make her look like a proper.
Oh yeah, the
witch.
Banshee bones. I forgot that. Her hair was always down, and sometimes she has the comb. But yeah, in Irish mythology, she's followed by the Coast Devourer and the Headless Horseman.
Yeah.
The
Headless Horseman is our thing as well.
Yeah, wait, I creepy.
I thought Sleepy Hollow had dibs on the Headless.
No,
Horseman.
So the Headless Horseman in parts of New England kind of has Germanic and Dutch roots. But
it's weird because the Irish would have went to New England as well. That's Boston.
Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of an amalgamation in America. They're too distinct in Europe, but they would come from the same roots as well.
Okay.
So that's ours, the Headless Horseman also. Which is also in Derby O'Gill, the little people. All
the scary shit comes from Ireland.
It's because the birthplace of Halloween.
Fucking kings of horror, man.
Yeah.
That's why we need more Irish horror movies. Because we got this stuff. We have the built-in trauma to do this.
No, but I mean, like, if we got a proper paranormal Irish language movie, those curses would sound badass as fuck. People giving out to each other.
But, yeah, we'll check out the one that comes out and see how that goes. But, right, last up here on the block, my pick was The Grim Sleeper. And we literally just watched a documentary about this guy.
We saw this guy being weird. Literally, actually, there's video footage of him. Like, it's okay.
When he's taking a picture of the woman.
Yeah.
The naked pictures. That's kind of what he used to do.
Oh, I thought they were blurring her face. They weren't.
No, they were blurring her body.
Oh.
You couldn't really see her face because it was 1990s technology, so it was pretty pixelated as it was. But it's him videotaping himself taking pictures of the girl, probably before he killed her. It seems just crazy. It seems like...
He seems very nearly almost pleasant, though, when he's like, right, so smile, so fucking, as in like,
yeah,
oh my God.
He seems very... But that's what they were saying about him, is that even though he was a bit of a nerd and a bit awkward, that he was still charismatic enough to talk most of these women into a car with him, like, you know?
And clearly to be able to get them to take off their tops for pictures. I mean, like, get them
Well, no, you see, the thing about it is there, and I think that was a bit that I thought they left out. As far as I know, a lot of those women that came to his houses were like crackheads and stuff. And he used to kind of like lure them in with drugs and then he'd fucking kill them there. Because not all of them were shot. Like, I mean, they were saying in that documentary, like, what first led them onto it was this first shooting victim that they found. And then there was the girl that got away. And it was the same MO, and she was able to give him a composite and give them the car make being a Pinto, and it was like an orange Pinto. Now, the documentary, they had flames going up the side of it and all that. I don't know if he had flames. So, yeah, I don't know if he had that in his.
But she was impressed with the car, apparently.
Yeah. Apparently, she said she was impressed enough with the car, and he was able to kind of talk her into getting into the car. What the fuck were you doing back in the fucking 70s and 80s? Why were you getting in the cars with people you didn't know? I mean, I know there are probably people screaming, well, what about Uber? Well, Uber's an official fucking thing. You should at least have a record there of who you're in the car with.
It's totally understandable, right? Okay, and just drawing from personal experience, being that age, we could be that like, okay. When I went to have a look, when I was moving out of home, and I went to have a look at our first apartments, or first house, myself and two of my friends that I were moving in with. So there's three of us, and we met the landlord, and he was like, oh, I have a few other houses, and he's sitting outside the house in his Jeep, and one of our other friends who would have been kind of like, not the natural leader, but she was kind of like the most natural, like, looking after the money, kind of like, do you know, that kind of way. And so she said that she'd go with him, and there's me and my other friend sitting on the wall, and they're driving off this guy that we'd only met like 20 minutes before, that was a landlord, and we're looking at each other going, should we have just let her do that? We're 18 in a city that we, you know.
In that case, you're two witnesses. Be different if all of you went with him. Then you're looking at a fucking hostage situation. But if he leaves with her, there's two people to instantly ring the police and say, our friend, this description, left with this man in this description in this car who claims to own this house and had keys to this house. There,
but at this age, I can guarantee you, if the three of us went to look at the house at this age, we'd be like, nah, nobody's getting it. We're going to go and we'll follow you there. Like,
oh, yeah.
Do you know, where we're...
But, I mean, it just seems like they were... But, I mean, I know, again, I get you. I mean, I can remember when we were fucking young fellas as well and we were driving around in cars and stuff like that. Yeah. You could pull up to a group of fucking girls and then if they like the car, they'd jump in and go for a fucking ride with you, like, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, crazy, but I suppose when you're younger, you're fucking stupid or you're willing to do stupider fucking stuff. But when you're
trusting, you haven't been fucked over yet. You're like, you are very trusting at that age.
And the thing about it then as well is this guy spread his crimes out so much that, or seemed to, I don't know, was he just changing his MO? Because it seemed like they kept picking up crimes and they thought he was off. But the way he was doing it, it was never really announced that there was a proper serial killer on the loose. So these women didn't really know. Yeah. Do you know?
Yeah.
They didn't know they were dealing with a fucking serial killer because for the longest time they didn't know. But like I said, the second girl who got, this one girl who got away, he's got one attempted murder on his name and it's for her. And she gave him a composite and gave him the car make. And they started looking at cold cases from 85 to 88. And I think they found 2 bodies from 85, 86 and 5 in 87, 88 that matched the style and were the same caliber bullet and shot in the same areas in the body, which means they would have been shot in the car. Because he shot this girl in the car. She said she was just sitting there. He met her at like a liquor store and convinced her that he'd drive her to her friend's house. He was flirting with her a bit. And she said no a few times and eventually she got into the car with him. And she said she noticed after a while he took a turn and it was away from her friend's house. And she got a bit nervous. She asked him where he was going. And he pulled in. He said, I just have to go in here for a minute. And he went into a house. And then when he came out, he was visibly a different person behind the eyes.
Okay.
And that they were sitting in the car. And he said he'd drive her to the friend's house now and started driving kind of to that direction but pulled into an alleyway. And next thing you want, said she heard a bang. And she didn't even realise she'd been shot. And next thing, he just pushes her out of the fucking car and she's covered in blood and he takes his picture and drives off. And they found this one. She survived, but they found this woman's Polaroid like 25 years later or something like that. When they raided his house, they found behind some drywall like fucking hundreds of Polaroid pictures. And they weren't just of women he killed. There was some that he just slept with. But he literally like took a picture of every woman he slept with and every woman he killed he slept with. So they were in there too. And the police had to like go and like put all these pictures up and basically ask people to come forward if you're still alive. Like, they had like loads of girls were in saying, yeah, that's me. I had a normal enough night with him. He seemed okay. They've still got something like 35? 30 odd, yeah. They haven't identified. So he's done for like 25 murders. They've done him for 10 murders, 1 attempted. And they reckon he's done up 25 plus. But there's at least another 30 there that's unaccounted for.
But you know, if they had a sex offenders register back then, the likelihood is they'd have copped him like pretty much like early on because...
But he wasn't done for anything.
He was. In 1974, he was released from prison for a conviction for gang raping a 17-year-old girl in Stuttgart in West Germany. But
that wouldn't have crossed over.
But even if they had that, if they looked into him a bit more, because... He was found with photographs, the exact same thing that he used to do with his victims afterwards. He took photographs of this girl during the gang rape and he kept them. But the thing is,
you're talking about time before internet.
I know, yeah.
Do you know? Yeah. You're having American cops in Germany and asking them to go through the records.
If there had been that system, would he have been caught faster? Like if that information was available at your fingertips back then. Like,
I think the best kind of example of it in movies and TV would be Hannibal. You know, where they had to try and get the American cops are trying to get the fucking Italians to look into this guy, who's Hannibal, obviously. But is trying to find a cop who's willing to do the paperwork. You know, because a lot of the time it's just like, well, fuck you, this isn't my problem no more. He lives where you are. You know?
But they had the same with Ted Bundy, wasn't it? Going through lists and lists, wasn't it, of golf, Volkswagens.
Yeah, trying to find them. But it's crazy. And then they thought, and this is the thing that's like fucked up about the guys, because they thought they caught him first with this guy and it's crazy. I wonder did Rick Ross get his name from this guy? the rapper Rick Ross.
Oh, yeah.
Every day I'm hustling. But Ricky Ross, who was an undercover narco, was caught in a similar car, high on crack with a prostitute and a gun that fit the description of the murder weapon.
.25 caliber, wasn't it?
Something like that. I'm not too good with my calibers and guns, so we don't have many guns over here. So
I just remember because when they were like, oh, they found this gun and this guy, I was like, holy shit, they finally got the guy.
And that's what they thought. And they thought that so much that they charged the man.
Yeah.
And he was being brought to court, and then they realised someone in ballistics had fucked up and the bullets did not match. And
the striations on the bullets didn't match up.
So he got off, even though they said up to that, the killings stopped at that point. So a bunch of detectives died believing this man was guilty, and he was fired from his job, obviously, for being high on crack with a prostitute. I mean, regardless of whether he killed anybody beforehand, he was still committing a crime, so he did get in trouble for that.
Yep.
But because of that, they thought the Grim Sleeper that's where he got his name. They thought he went back to sleep. Or they thought they caught him. They thought it was him and that he was just giving up because he'd gotten off this time. But they think then, in the meantime, they think all these times that they thought that Lonnie David Franklin, the actual killer, they thought he was sleeping because that's why he gets the Grim Sleeper name. That he was committing murders, just, different styles, different places, and ones they haven't connected to him yet.
Okay.
But I found it really interesting how they caught him because I, honest to God, thought that the Golden State Killer was the first person to get caught that way. And what they did was they went looking, but I suppose BTK got caught that way. They went looking at familial DNA. Mm-hmm. They got some of, they found, I think, his son's DNA was on record. And they matched that to the crime scenes. They knew it was familial. So they knew his son wasn't the killer, but they knew someone related to his son was the killer. So they started to try and narrow it down, and they started rolling it down to a certain amount of people that could be in the family. Yeah. And eventually they get to Lonnie David Franklin Jr. And what they have to do next is try and get a sample of his DNA to officially match him and say, yes, this is the fucking Grim Sleeper. So they put surveillance on him, and this guy goes to a kid's birthday party. And at the kid's birthday party, the cops are like, okay, he's eating here, he's using utensils here, he's using napkins here. This is our chance to get DNA. The only thing is, it can't be contaminated, so we can't let it get in with anybody else's fucking rubbish. We can't pick it out of the garbage later. We got to get this directly from him. So they sent one of their guys in undercover as a waiter, and they say, your man, the cop on the documentary sounded so fucking satisfied with him when he said, and Lonnie David Franklin Jr. got the best waiter service of his life that night. He like the pizza crust straight off his table, the plate straight off the table, utensils straight off the table, napkin straight off the table.
Do you think Lonnie tipped this man that was about to just put the nail in his coffin?
Possibly.
Mad and that.
If he did, they'd have his DNA in that too.
Oh, yeah.
And then they watched it. So they just kept somebody. And they showed like the video surveillance of him at this kid's birthday party.
Yeah.
And then they just waited for the DNA to come in. And once they had him, they just went in and picked them fucking right on up. Brought him in. And we watched some of the interrogation videotape. And I turned to you straight there. I was like, why the fuck is this guy talking with no solicitor next to him? That is rule number one in America, at least, in every country.
Yeah.
No matter whether you're innocent or guilty, the first words out of your mouth are no comment until my solicitor is present.
Yep.
And that's it. They can't do no more until there is a solicitor present. And then, because even if you're innocent, you could slip up and they could make it sound like...
Oh, the tiniest thing. Yeah, exactly. It really
any inconsistencies and suddenly you are a number one suspect instead of just suspect.
I have a head like a sieve. I tell them I had spaghetti to eat yesterday and then I had in my head, no, wait, it's pizza, and then I'd be fucked.
Yeah, so you want a... but no, fuck Lonnie David Franklin.
Whatever, exactly,
yeah. The courtroom stuff was a bit. The judge, and she was like, "This is some of the more in all my time as a judge in California. This is the worst thing I've seen in all my years." I was like, "This is the '80s in California, man. You've had you currently still have the Golden State Killer running around the place."
Maybe she meant cases that she's tried personally.
Richard Ramirez, fucking. Who else was there? Who was the other big one? Fucking, it's after slipping my mind. There was another big one that was running around at that point.
Maybe it was her first day.
But she sentenced him to death. But unfortunately, Lonnie David Franklin Jr. beat them to the death penalty, and he was found dead in his cell only 4 years ago, 4 years ago, 2020. They will not say what he died of, but they did not say that. They said it wasn't suspicious circumstances.
I think it's COVID.
Could be.
That's
he was in San Quentin State Prison. But he seemed so calm when he was talking.
Yeah,
that was unsettling as well. It's like you said. I don't think if he was talking to me directly, I think there was anything wrong with him. Do you know? There's like even like with Ted Bundy and stuff like that. There's
dead.
Quirks. There's weird quirks that would make you think. Even if you found him interesting, there's something quirky about this guy.
Yep.
Lonnie David Jr. just seemed regular.
Yeah.
And nothing out of the ordinary. So if he was talking to you, you wouldn't really pick up on anything. And even when they were asking him about women, they had like the investigator had like fucking 8 or 9 pictures of women out on the fucking table. And he's like saying to him, "Was like, see these women right here? They're all pointing fingers at you. If they could point a finger right now, they'd be pointing them right at you, Lonnie." And it was like, and you're sitting here now, you're thinking about your past and you're looking at your future. And he's like, "Do you recognize any of these women in these pictures?" Nope, don't recognize any of these women. Your DNA has been found on, or do you understand what DNA is? Yes. Your DNA has been found in connection to all these murders. Do you understand what's going on, Lonnie? Yes. You're about to be arrested for murder, Lonnie. Okay. And he just stands up and arrested and walked the fuck out of there. And he seemed calm in court. He seemed cool about it. And I heard there is this woman. I heard her on Jericho's podcast. I told you about her. She was she was rather an ex-porn star or an ex-stripper. But I did feel like Jericho wasn't taking her very seriously because of it. He seemed very flippant when he was talking. And Jericho's usually well into his story, but he seemed very like, yup, as she was talking. But she claimed to be the only person that Lonnie David Franklin Jr. would talk to. He wouldn't talk to anyone for ages, and he wasn't telling anybody about these extra killings. And she started writing to him. And I suppose maybe the prospect of what she used to be might have got old Lonnie going, because he agreed to meet her and talk to her. And I think he kind of made some kind of veiled threat when he first met her of, you would have been my type or something like that back in the day and all this kind of shit. And he was a bit of a creepy old man, but the day they developed, she said, like, a bit of a friendship, all right. And that, like, he'd tell her stuff and he'd talk to her and he'd give her details that he wasn't giving everybody else. And she wrote a book about him.
Okay.
I don't know what that book is called, but I do remember feeling like Jericho wasn't really giving her a fair. No, she was a bit very. I mean, if you told me she was an ex-porn star, I wouldn't have believed it. She sounded very mom-like in her delivery.
Yeah.
Like someone's mom decided to go write a book. If I can find her information here, film and television. See also, hang on, no, Grim Sleeper book. Grim Sleeper book. Christine Pettis, is that her? I think this might be her. Hang on, no, a minute. Copy. Google, you are my best friend. It does all the hard work for me. No, this isn't the woman I'm thinking of. She, is she? I don't know. Anyway, this woman wrote the book anyway on fucking the guy. There's this other woman that wrote a book about him, Christina Pelisk. The Grim Sleeper, The Last Women of South Central. The Grim Sleeper, nothing about the writer, so I don't really know. I'll find out more about that next week, because I could just listen to Jericho's podcast and find out, because she doesn't seem to have a Wikipedia page, and I rely too much on Wikipedia. People.com have something about her.
That's because
she's a senior crime writer.
Oh, we watched her today. We watched
she was, yeah.
I knew the name.
Definitely, she was on that. So who is the woman I'm thinking of? The Grim Sleeper talking with... This might be it. Hang on 1 minute. Victoria Redstall. That kind of does scream fucking...
Redstall.
We'll have a look. Actress. What was she an actress in? IMDb.
Oh, IMDb is actual actress.
Victoria grew up in Surrey, England. This isn't the same woman either. Jesus Christ. Maybe he was talking to more women than I thought he was.
There is a lot of women with a fetish for men on death row. It's crazy.
What? Why?
I don't get it.
Is it because are these women like who constantly have
Is it because if you marry them and they're executed, you inherit everything?
Well, I suppose you'd inherit the story maybe if you're married to them. You get the rights to their story.
Maybe.
Or is it just a thing they can't get away from you?
Yeah. Nowhere to run.
You're stuck with me now, motherfucker. Yeah, and if you do divorce them, I mean, yeah, well, I suppose what are you going to get off them on bar their story? What
if they have a house that before they go in?
Okay, I found her. Monique Alexander is an American pornographic actress, nude model, and 2017 AVN Hall of Fame inductee. So she's in the Porno Hall of Fame. Where is her book? Book. Maybe I don't have her. Maybe this girl didn't write anything. Why the fuck do they keep sending me to the wrong people?
I have no idea.
Well, fair play to you, Monique Alexander. You mightn't have wrote a book, but you made it into the AVN Hall of Fame.
Good job.
Either right away, Lonnie Davis Jr. is dead. Died in San Quentin, and that's about it. That's all we know about the Grim Sleeper. Could have killed up to about maybe, what they reckon, 50, 55 women, 58 women.
A lot.
There's lots of pictures. Over 100 pictures were found.
180, 185 odd, I think, was released. 180 photos of women.
I can't believe number one, I can't believe the man bedded 180 women. And number two, I can't believe that every last one of them agreed to a photograph. And I know not all of them were
I was just about to say that. There's a few
consensual.
that were like, yeah.
But it seemed like there was a good number of them that were. No, they were hookers as well, I suppose. He was paying these women. And then there was a lot of drug addicts and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I'm sure he was manipulative.
Yeah. Nasty.
Yeah.
Yuck. Disgusting. That's it for this week. Again, ending on a high note. Lonnie Davis Jr. See ya.